The past 3 years have seen a global pandemic, a war in Eastern Europe, and the advent of new forms of money all reshaping the world order. It is during such states of chaotic change that profound transformations can happen. In this video, we will discuss what is next for the international monetary system and what this means to you as an individual. But first, what is money?
It's a medium of exchange, and it's a storehold of wealth.
Yes.
So money, so you could say something's a medium of exchange, and then you could say, is it a storehold of wealth? Okay. So and money is that vehicle that is those things and can be used to pay off your debt. So when you have a debt and you provide it, it pays off your debt. So that's that process.
The current monetary system is based on fiat and credit money. In practical terms, it means that the unit of value, accounting and exchange is issued by a central bank, the fiat money, and commercial banks, the credit money, floating freely in the foreign exchange market where participants determine the strength and weakness of a currency based on demand and supply dynamics. If there is more demand than supply for a particular currency, then it strengthens relatively to other currencies. For example, the strengthening of the US dollar throughout 2022 was an example of exactly this dynamic. There was more demand for the currency than US dollars floating in the market, so its price went up. But we will come back to this particular currency, the US dollar or the greenback, shortly. For now, it is important to understand the basics of the money system as it is today. This will help us understand what its next evolutionary step will look like and why it is in our detriment as individual investors and economic actors. As historian Niall Ferguson explained in his book, The Ascent of Money in the Ancient World, and for much of history until relatively recently, money was made out of metals, coins of gold, silver, and copper. The money supply, a measure of the quantity of money in the economy, and later on financial markets, during this period was determined by how much metal was mined, transformed into coinage, or to use the particular term, minted, and then transported and made available to merchants, traders, explorers, and so on. The advantage of this type of money, hard money, was clear. It offered absolute certainty that the unit of storing value and of exchanging goods and services was real. Gold is heavy, cold, and in your palm. But on the other hand, the drawback was that when metal availability became scarce, for whatever reason, such as war or simply the mines ran out of resources, the money supply would drop, causing economic pain and a lot of societal upheaval. Fast forward to the 20th century, and in the name of so-called safety and transparency, all the advantages of hard money were eliminated as political leaders and technocrats decided that the disadvantages of hard money far outweighed the benefits. Following World War II, the monetary system moved decidedly away from hard money, towards the one we have now, which is not only a fiat and credit money, but it is also US dollar centric. This means that the most important currency in the world is the American currency. Between 1944 and 1971, the US dollar was pegged to gold. Anyone holding US dollars or, importantly, US government debt, treasuries, could be sure of the value of their money because they could exchange it back into gold, hard, precious metal. But in 1971, a mix of international politics and economic hardship forced President Nixon to break the link between the US dollar and gold, thereby ushering in the current international monetary system. The current international monetary system, which in essence is a marriage of central banks and private banks with further ties to national governments, has its center the Federal Reserve of the United States. The US dollar dominates everything: the forex market, where currencies are traded, and global trade. In fact, the greenback is so crucial that the term petrodollar exists to highlight the dominance of US dollars in trading oil with the Gulf states. In the current system, we have cash, the notes and coins in our pockets, which is provided by the central bank. We have credit, these are bank loans, and we have the money of banks. These are bank reserves that the banking industry uses, hand in hand with central banks, to settle transactions. The last two types of money are digital. Only cash is tangible and therefore real. Cash cannot be traced, but what we do with digital money can. It is at this point that the next stage of evolution of the monetary system begins: the full digitalization of money. Recently, Dalio warned that the current US dollar-centric system is fading away. The era of a dollar-dominated world order and a globalized economy was fading away, Dalio said. We are now going to have the major powers and their allies form economic, currency, and military blocs. What is causing the death of the current monetary system is simply abuse of it. There is too much money or purchasing power in the system. The fact that this is highly concentrated in the hands of a few people is a subject for another video. The important point here is to understand that when money is easily provided, the value of currencies goes down, both in relative and in absolute terms. However, it isn't just a new political order that will come out of the death of the current monetary system, but also a technological one. Cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin showed policymakers the power of digital coins, but they took the decentralized characteristic of these private cryptocurrencies as a threat. Governments are by their very nature centralized. As such, central banks have been developing their own version of Bitcoin, central bank digital currencies, CBDCs.
And the thing about central bank digital currencies is they're not cryptocurrencies, they're not blockchain. The ledger, because blockchain is just a ledger, it's just a bookkeeping way, it's digital, but the blockchain technology has been around since the 80s, there's nothing new about it. But it's your ledger, and it can be decentralized. Central bank digital currency, there'll be a ledger, but it'll be maintained by the central bank. And a CBDC dollar is still a dollar. A central bank digital euro is still a euro. Central bank digital yen is still a yen. So it's not a new currency, it's a new payment channel, a new settlement and clearance channel. And it is better, faster, cheaper. I mean, if I buy something with a credit card, how does that work? Well, I'm at the point of purchase, they use a credit card. The merchant has a receivables. They sell it to somebody called a merchant acquirer who, scoops up a whole bunch of credit card receivables. Then the merchant acquirer sells it to MasterCard or Visa, whoever the card sponsor was, and they get paid. And then MasterCard and Visa takes these from all over the world, and then they send them to the banks that issue the credit cards. And then those credit card issuers send me a bill, and I pay it. Well, you got 5 parties in that transaction. You got the customer, the merchant acquirer, MasterCard, and the issuing bank, and like 2.5%, 3% fees end to end. Well, that's a really clunky, messy, expensive, slow system. You can eliminate all of that. You can disintermediate the banking system and MasterCard and Visa, interesting stock implications there. With the CBDC, I can have an account at the Fed on my iPhone, and I can send you money. You can have an account at the Fed or Bank of England, whatever you like. And so it is better, faster, cheaper, but it's also the ultimate surveillance tool. This will complete their surveillance state. They already know enough about us with GPS tracking. You got to turn your cell phone off and stick it in a Faraday sack. I have a few of those I carry with me if you want to avoid being tracked in real time.
There you have it. The final stage of the evolution of the monetary system is to complete the surveillance state of the government. From untraceable hard metals to printed paper cash to digital money to centralized digital money. Some suggest that CBDCs are going to be rolled out very soon. What are your thoughts on this? Let us know in the comments below.
Today, I'm proud to say that under the UK's presidency, the group of the world's 7 most advanced economies, the G7, is launching a set of public policy principles for retail central bank digital currencies, CBDCs. Central bank digital currencies could be a digital version of money, a bit like a digital banknote that could be used alongside physical notes and coins. Unlike most of the digital money people use daily today, it would be issued directly by a central bank, like the Bank of England in the UK. And governments and central banks across the world are working together, looking into what having a digital currency might mean in practice. This includes issues that people care about, such as ensuring users' money would be safe and secure, that it could work with other ways to pay, would be energy efficient and available to everyone. A potential CBDC could offer businesses and consumers new ways to pay in the future. It's all part of the wider story of digital innovation that has delivered benefits to millions around the world and in the UK. The decision on whether to launch a central bank digital currency is for each country to make, and no G7 jurisdiction has yet made that choice. These decisions raise important questions about the reshaping of our economy, financial systems, and the way in which people interact with money and payments. That's why working together and careful evaluation with our international partners is essential. In the UK earlier this year, I announced a new joint task force between the Treasury and the Bank of England to look into a potential CBDC as a complement to cash and bank deposits. We're also hearing from firms, technology experts and others. Under the leadership of the UK, This report today will help support and inform exploration of CBDCs in the G7 and beyond. With these principles, the G7 is leading an important step change in the global policy conversation. The report covers a range of important matters, such as financial stability, cyber resilience, energy efficiency, privacy, inclusion, and tackling illicit finance. These factors should all be considered when designing and potentially delivering a CBDC that would be fit for the future. Our shared objective is to ensure that CBDCs would be grounded in long-standing commitments to transparency, the rule of law, and sound economic governance. The G7 will continue its work in this important area, working with others to enhance understanding and use of these principles. We're excited to be taking a leading role with G7 members in publishing this exploratory work, bringing money and finance into the 21st century.
What are your thoughts on the future of money? Looking forward to having digital currency in a country near you? Let us know in the comments section below. For more leading insight into the world of finance and to stay one step ahead as an investor, make sure you like this video and subscribe to our channel right now.